Hello, I'm Steve Monkey Mason. I'm trying to be Paul Ray from Cutting In. This is the audio podcast commentary for Timecop. I'm joined by the one and only Paul Ray and Carl McSorley. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hi, Paul. Paul.
Right.
Oh, there you are. Right. Fucking hell, what a start. Right, so I'm pressing play on 3, 2, 1. Largo Entertainment. Now, as the guys have we've been talking about this just before this podcast, and Carl woke up from his little nap. I am watching this on a first round release on DVD, still Universal, and Carl has it on Warner Brothers. Oh, yeah. the fucking title font for this is shit. That is shit. I am.
90s, man, it's 90s through and through.
I get goosebumps when I think about this, you know. Sorry, go ahead, Paul.
GBC. Do you see that GBC Entertainment?
Yeah.
Produced it, didn't it? Don't see them again.
Yeah, I remember like in the mid-90s, like the era of like Batman Forever, Dumb and Dumber, that era of Speed, and like I remember going into like the Metro Centre Pictures and just seeing Van Damme, the gun, Timecop, and going, right, I want to see that. But it's an 18, but it's now a 15 on Blu-ray, and it's just been chucked out, slapped bang, like no extra features. And I know 88 Films have been doing a massive series of Van Damme films at the moment. I bet they would like to get a hold of Timecop, but this is actually a Prism Leisure release DVD, so it's proper bootleg very early on, you know.
I remember Prism Leisure. The full budget event, and they were awesome. But what was weird, like I said, it's Universal, and then obviously it's going to be through Warner Brothers, and then it's through something else, so it's weird. But I seen this on videotape. When I first seen it was videotape. I actually love this film, and especially Sam Raimi has something to do with it, doesn't he?
Produced by Well, Peter Hames.
Just popped up on the screen.
Yeah, Peter Hames has done a lot of films with Van Damme. He did a film called Enemies Closer. And I always remember looking at the box and going, Van Damme looks like he's in Timecop, and then I was like, it's the same fucking director. And that Enemies Close is a fucking mint film, but I'm sure they did Sudden Death together as well.
Great film, Sudden Death. Well, I think I've only ever seen this on television, to be honest with you.
Guys,
I'd have to look through.
This is so wide on my screen right now. I'm going to get my ruler out. I just nearly bought a poster on eBay, and I read the guy's description, and he put, I will post if I can be bothered and there's not a big queue at the thing. I was like, who the fuck puts that on an eBay thing? But right, the screen I'm watching it on, right, is 20, let's just say it's 30 centimetres, right, long. The screen, the entire the screen is that widescreen. It's 17 centimeters. So at the top and bottom, I have 6 centimeters. 6 centimeters at the top and 6 centimeters at the the bottom. That's how wide it is.
You're watching probably the 2.35.1 aspect ratio, which is a lot of times just compressed straight to DVD. I think me and Carl are probably 1.85 widescreen. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So you've got like the first generation, the same as Tremors. That was the same, 2.35. They were designed for widescreen TVs, but obviously TVs have changed since then.
Yeah.
It's just really old standard now.
I love me old big box VHS. Like, it's green. I think Timecop. I think green, but when I look at the artwork for this, it's red. And I'm like, and if you look at the Blu-ray, it's blue. I'm like, fuck off changing the colours with stuff.
Can you remember the TV show?
No, I can remember the sequel, Jason Scott Lee.
No, the TV show. It ran for like 1 or 2 seasons, but that totally died. But go back to Sam Raimi and Rob Tapert, obviously from Evil Dead, work with Xena. Obviously, was it The Shadow? No, not Shadow. Dark Man, wasn't it? And, around this time, wasn't it? Well, how can I say it? Because obviously I was on IMDb because it's like a refresh reminder who's in it and stuff like that. And that Mia Sara, see now, obviously she's quite, I mean even the name,
immediately I think of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I was like, I've not really seen her in much other things, and I thought, not to be like kind of, sexist, but given the time, she's a good-looking lass, and she wasn't half bad in Ferris Bueller, and I was looking at it, and I mean, she's had, I was being alright career, not massive, but it was strange because, to be honest with you, the first thing that popped up, which I didn't even know existed, was a TV series called Birds of Prey. It's obviously a DC TV series based on Batman going into exile. It was all about like Barbara Gordon and stuff like that. So apparently she played Harley Quinn in that. But
well, funny story.
I remember Mia Sarah from Legend. Legend.
Yeah.
Curry and Tom Cruise.
You know what it is, lads? I'm going to say something that maybe going to change the whole tone of this, but never seen Legend.
There's too many different versions.
The one that I think of is the Tom Cruise one.
That is Legend, aye.
No, yeah, that's it.
That Legend, aye.
Well, there's two versions of it. There's like a director's cut and a European cut of it. But mate, if you get a chance to watch it, it's one of those. It's like infinite. I see the cover and I know exactly the whole devil and everything. It's so crisp clear, just for some bizarre reason, never got around to that.
Mate, honestly, when you watch that film, you go, "How the fuck did Tom Cruise work after that movie?" Honest to God. I can't stand Tom Cruise, and you watch that film, you're like, fucking hell, man. So the other night I was watching The Void, and I've recently just finished Twin Peaks, and the guy opposite the guys here, the white-haired guy who seems to be the leader of the opposite side of the table, he comes in as the bad guy in Twin Peaks season 2. And he turned up in fucking The Void last night, so he's been on my television in 3 different productions over the last couple of days.
It's funny how that worked out in some ways. So is Legend, do we know, is Legend before or after The Outsiders? Because I think that's the earliest Tom Cruise film I've got. And that's pretty early on, like, he still had these rigged teeth back in them days.
He's still got his teeth in Legend as well.
Has he?
The theory of time travel,
awesome.
This doesn't really, I mean, it tiptoes around the butterfly effect, but like, I think this, like, it's from A to B, it doesn't really piss around with, like, it's all in lingo. But yeah, here we go, capital drugs.
The guy who's running for president, he always reminds me of Thief from Die Hard.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot his name. Oh, you know what I mean?
Not Alan Rickman. Not Alan Rickman. The other one.
It's gone. It's totally gone. Blanking out today. Blanking out. Remember those days going into a mall and walking around?
Thought you were about blanking out. Yeah, I mean, you remember when you could just walk around like any which way you wanted?
You walked anywhere you fucking wanted. When they were telling you which way to walk, you can fucking shut up.
Listen, I'm hearing impaired, lads. I'm disabled. What can you expect of us?
Van Damme.
That normally gets out of most trouble.
Big kiss.
So what you normally do when you see Van Damme?
Aye, I would kiss Van Damme. There you go. Here he goes. Typical. I mean, this is one of Van Damme's last big cinema runs, though, isn't it? He was a bit fall from grace from this.
No. Street Fighter. Oh no, Street Fighter was before this. After this?
I think after. Street Fighter was fucking terrible. I can't wait to do the podcast for that with you guys.
But the thing is, with Street Fighter, right? What it kind of falls into the category of that's pure Van Damme, not like
read between the lines.
Yeah.
But it's like the Kurgan guys just seem alone.
Because I've just watched no go for ball.
Go ahead.
No, I'm going to make that point.
It was on.
Fucking hell, guys.
I was going to say now. It's go ahead, Carl.
No, the reason why I wanted to hurry because it's a past point from what you mentioned with Street Street Fighter, it was just something that my mini rant was basically just saying I don't get why people would pick up those sort of projects. So I know, like, you've just recently watched the Resident Evils, and so with that in mind, Paul W. Anderson, right? So one thing bugs me is why would you want to pick up a project that's so well known as Street Fighter was and as Resident Evil was, and then use literally none of the lore? You know, that's the thing with Street Fighter. It's a canny action film, but they literally, they used a couple of things, but it just felt more so with Resident Evil why video games like never seem to work, because they've already got all the work done to them. They've just got to recreate it on screen, and they just never do.
Boobies.
Look at bloody
Christmas change.
Van Damme playing Mr. America.
Yeah, with his Belgian accent or where he's from. I like his jacket is proper 90s, like, isn't it? Proper 90s, like when I had those big jackets. Like.
I'm on to the sex scene. Are you guys still in the mall?
I'm seeing an old house now. Oh yeah,
I'm on there. Yeah.
This is the problem with you guys watching it digitally and me watching it old school. I might be watching the uncut version.
Are these body doubles? Yeah, I can't tell.
No, that's
I was thinking that, but no, I think that's it. Definitely her. I think back in the day, they were like the 90s. They didn't shy away from stuff like that as much, though, did they? Like now, it's just like, don't get me wrong, each to their own, but it's just one of those things where it's like, to me, and don't get me wrong, like the admin have it that, you know, you'll never really see a dick on screen, because for some reason that's just not acceptable.
Well, no, hang on.
Where it boobs and bushes, you're clear as hell.
You watch Colour of a Night with Bruce Willis, and you go, oh yeah, Bruce Willis, Colour of a Night. This is like the era when you're discovering Bruce Willis films, and you're like Striking Distance and Die Hard 2, and you watch Colour of the Night, and you go like, all right, it's a fucking drama. Next thing you know, he's in the pool having sex with his woman, and his dick just floats past the screen. You're like, oh my god, I've just seen Bruce Willis's dick. Colour Out of Night, I think it's called.
I'm not in a rush to see it now either. But no, because it just seemed to be like such a massive thing now. I mean, more so with people who are, my argument is that they're actors, and I think like in the art of acting, it's just like, unless it's some form of perverted director who's just putting a scene in there for the sake of it, I don't see the issue. Like,
what, like with
like actresses and actors put in like massive like clause in the contract to say they won't show anything and stuff like that. So
well, totally, that's it. I mean, you get the paycheck for it. I mean, if you don't get your tits out straight away, and you can build a big paycheck, and you can get an extra, like, a lot of money on, because that's what people's going to pay to see.
Yeah,
so you'd be smart. Like, I mean, I think Jamie Kennedy goes on about that and Scream, how Jamie Lee Curtis didn't get her tits out for years, and like, that's, you know what I mean, that's where you get your coin from it. The Kurgan bad guy. I'm up to the outside. He's getting his ass kicked by two people outside. Is that where you guys are?
He is now.
Literally just being punched.
It's proper Highlander looking bad guys, like. Aye, but it's again, it's like, I remember, like, this is part of his Universal. I believe after this, or I think sudden death, he went off to work for Sony, and that was his demise with Double Team and The Replicant and Knockoff. Do you know what I mean? But like, I think Van Damme transitioned well to DVD. You know, when DVD became a rising thing, because he's got a massive cult following, Van Damme. That, you know what I mean? Like, he's made his living, and he's a household name, and like, fair enough, some of his movies later on didn't deliver it just as good, but you know what I mean, he's really stuck at it, you know what I mean?
I think he knows what his value is now. I mean, like I said, there was like no shame for the Coolers advert, which at the time, you know, was a parody on himself, really, because you'd never really seen Van Damme do any other than, you know, a stern action star. You know, so for him to be like comedic and like kind of funny like that just didn't sit right. So I think he knows his value, and it's probably just a paycheck these days for him.
Well, yeah.
Was this time when he was on the drugs or off the drugs?
He looks fresh.
Well, 95, he's probably, I was going to say 95 probably just beforehand, or...
Because Street Fighter was head, wasn't he?
Street Fighter,
Yeah.
I mean, fuck me, man. He's cast as an American. He's got gingerish hair, and like he should have just took. Like, I wish he took Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat. That'd be mint.
Yeah. But even then, Johnny Cage is in the game portrayed as the all-American actor, so...
I always remember this on video having a great, like, hook up to like a home cinema system sounded absolutely awesome. It was like a show-off kind of thing for his Dolby stereo. I remember it being really, really good.
I mean, this is a high-budget cinema, like popcorn. This isn't like made straight for DVD. This was like, you know what I mean? Like, this is still when Van Damme was like a yearly thing. Now Van Damme's got a movie out, and like the people would still go to the pictures to see this.
Yeah. Remember that the trailer was this picture, wasn't it, where he comes in?
Yeah.
It was the guy set up all the future stock markets, and he just comes in with that CGI bubble, doesn't he?
Yeah.
To take you back.
Well, he had done Hard Target and Nowhere to Run before this, so it was really like his proper popcorn thing. You know what I mean? It wasn't the home video market stuff. It was proper his heyday, like.
Well, this is it, 'cause I'm looking at his IMDb at the moment, and to be honest with you, I would say like my first introduction was No Retreat, No Surrender. So that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, that's his fifth ever film. And then obviously going straight into Bloodsport. But then missed the next two, Black Eagle and Cyborg, never saw them. Kickboxer, quite a big one. So he has a cluster of quality films. I think that's what it is really. When you think of Van Damme, you think of like most of his films probably aren't as well known, but he had a good run.
The director did
There's also Predator.
The Predator.
We had all that silent, and then you put...
Hello.
Hello, Paul Ray. Can you hear us?
It's a freaking sequel. Hello.
Hello. Right, so I've never... Hello.
Hello.
Do you want to stop?
Can you hear us, Paul? I think he's gone in on this.
I can hear him saying hello at my end.
It keeps cutting out, but...
I was going to say he's still connected, but...
Alright, anyway, so, are you there, Paul? I'm going to ring his back 2 seconds.
Yes.
Oh, you are?
I'm back.
Alright, cool.
Yeah.
Right, Van Damme's just walked through the imaginary portal of world.
Love it.
Right, where are you up to? Because Van Damme's just walked through the portal of worlds there. He's front to front talking to the guy.
Yeah, that's exactly where I am.
Right. Now the stock market thing, I was watching, it's a hard thing to follow, the stock market. You see all the, it's buy, sell, like, fuck me, what's going on? I tried watching Wall Street, and like, don't get us wrong, the first one, I was like, my head was starting to bleed, like, trying to work out what they were talking about. And then, it's just never got it, like.
It's kind of like, the stock market's always been that kind of, they've always like had the same gimmick for it. It's never really been explained in a lot of films. I mean, obviously, Wolf of Wall Street does it really well in the regard of actually explaining it, but you never really got to understand, like you say, the jargon. You know, you have to really know a lot about it to understand what the hell they're talking about.
Van Damme's at the time as well, you were like, you know, oh, there it goes, does the splits, oosh. Oh, kicked with the gut.
You guys are so ahead.
Oh, well, he's just picking up the broken lamp now.
Fuck me.
There's a split.
Hang on, I'm going to pause it for a second. He just whipped the shit out of the guy. See, I'm meant to be the lead here on the podcast, you know what I mean? People are meant to be following my lead, not yours. The guy is crunching his balls. What's happening in your end?
He's just cracked him in the balls now.
Right.
Yeah, me too.
And he's got a big gun.
Yep.
I'm gonna say though, that's a pretty big gun with not a lot of effect on it.
It looks like a Swiss gun, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like it should have been more. Yeah, it should have been more of an impact for that one, but.
Was that a Timecop game? I can't remember.
I mean, they did push it quite a lot. I mean, I've just seen on IMDb the series, and then Jason Scott Lee came in for the sequel years later.
Was it connected, or did they just continue a random different story with a different agent?
I never seen it. Like, I never bothered with a sequel.
Yeah.
He spills his beans here.
I could take you back, Charlie.
Van Damme with his little trimmed mullet.
It's a future.
Have you ever seen him in an interview lately? Say in the last year and a half or so?
I've seen him walking down the street.
With someone. Right. Did you wave?
No, I've seen, like, if you follow him on YouTube, he was just walking down the street high-fiving people with his feet. He's fucking off his tits, man. He's dead funny, Van Damme, like.
I was going to say, because I'm going to say the interview I watched, I think it's about a year old. It was just on a YouTube channel, and I mean, he's just telling the story about working on set. Fucking off his head, like. I mean, I don't think he is, literally. Like, I don't think he's on drugs and like that, but I think just his mentality. You know, the way he tells the story. And then, like, I think at the end he started talking about milk and cookies or something like that, and it's just like, fuck, what did I just hear?
Did you guys see the film that he made? JCVD?
Yeah, I've seen that, yeah. I love, I mean, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, like, but obviously it was dubbed, you know what I mean? But, like, when he spills his beans on, and does the whole big crying speech in his natural language,
Yeah.
it's fucking class. But it's...
Tell you what, that was a really good scene there, though, when they came out the window. I mean, obviously the close-up was a little bit green screen, but the act, when it came out and you could see them falling, oh, for 1985, like, that's not bad.
No, it's... I mean, we will talk about that later on when the scene comes up, but, yeah, this whole, like, you know, like, your crime's a punishment. Like, it makes sense, you know what I mean? Time travel would be, like, on the black market and can alter anything, and what would they do? But, you know what I mean? It's just one of those... They go down that route of, like, what if, rather than the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
It's a lot to throw into just a typical, like, Van Damme action movie.
Yeah,
It was definitely
stock market, yeah.
Yeah, it was a bold move, really, I think, for this type of film. I mean, we know Van Damme can do, like, action, but, like, throwing into the idea, like, sci-fi...
I would have said this was for Stallone, this.
type of story.
I honestly think that this probably was aimed at Stallone coming off the back end of Demolition Man.
Yeah, well, but it could not be too similar, though.
Well,
I mean, I know it's Demolition Man, not time travel, but it kind of was in a way.
I just
so it might have come off a little bit too the same.
That guy there, who was his boss, he's been in absolutely loads of stuff. He's the sex pest in Last Boy Scout. But he's also one of the henchmen in Cliffhanger as well.
Yeah. Now,
what's that, guys?
I know, much.
I'm just saying that it's been ages since I did Cliffhanger. That was like last year.
Oh,
Jesus
was it?
Christ.
Yeah. But I was going to say this made some serious coin. Like, I mean, the budget on this one, do you want to say a guess? 1995?
15 million.
Do we say 50 there? There was a
15.
15.
15. A little higher. 27. But, I mean, don't get me wrong, it almost made 15 in its opening weekend. It made just over 12 million in its opening weekend. in the US, but overall, made 101.5 million. It's a big amount of money. That like for 95.
Van Damme, honestly.
It is and it isn't because Van Damme sells. You know, at this stage, Van Damme's already a household name, so it's kind of expected to make a lot of money. But that's still like a good money back in it.
I think this one and Nowhere to Run is my two favourite. Is Nowhere to Run the one with the homeless people?
No, that's Hard Target.
Who get done for. Hard Target, then that's what I meant. This and Hard Target's my two favourite. Oh yeah, and Sudden Death.
As a kid, the one I rewatched the most for some bizarre reason, I found it entertaining. Double Impact. It just seemed to be the one. I mean, don't get me wrong, Bloodsport and Kickboxer was up there definitely, but for some reason, I don't know if it was probably shown on TV more or whether I had it on VHS of some sort. But I just remember watching Double Impact a few times. But and it's not even
Ellis.
It was my mate.
It was the guy from Die Hard, Ellis.
Death Warrant and Bloodsport were my two Van Damme ones.
Now this, it's a futuristic time traveling action film, so it's bound to have some great tagline. And it has two taglines for this film. The first one, "Turn back the clock and your history."
That's the best. That's the best one.
That's a good one, yeah. And then the other one, a bit more wordy. They killed his wife 10 years ago. There's still time to save her. Murder is forever until now. Didn't quite work, but I mean, it's a synopsis really. But
It gives away the plot, yeah.
A little bit. But no, I like the whole "turn back the clock" in your history.
I love films like this, like 2004 we got time travel and all that stuff, you know what I mean? It's like, really? We just got iPads in 2004?
Oh, it's classic. I mean, the 2000 era that's what it was all about though, wasn't it? Whether it's bloody Terminator or Back to the Future, and it was always 2000 and something. It's like, we're still struggling.
In another few years we'll have flying cars.
Well, yeah. I mean, at this rate, we'll all be in heads and jars at that point, though.
Bubbles. There's a lot of jargon in this, like going across. It's a lot to do, though. You know what I mean? Again, time travel. You know, it's always been a popular genre, but you just open up a can of wormholes. I've talked a few things about you guys' Predestination. I started watching that and I generally had to get up, go downstairs and fucking sit in silence because my brain was pulsating with trying to work out what the fuck I just watched. It was like, like whoever wrote it down was just like, here's the alphabet, here's each letter from a different scenario, and somehow make the alphabet back together by the end of this movie. You're like, what the fuck, man?
I love those 2004 cars, the Mint.
Oh yeah, well all cars are going to look like that in 2000, aren't they?
Look at that there.
Would you drive down the street one of them?
The guy's got some superpowers, smashes his face off the window, like there we go. You know what I mean? Just not like a tap across the head, smash your face in.
Mind you, we've got better tellies in cars than those ones now. I mean, the one on the back's a flat screen, that works out, but they've just got basically little portable tellies. We've got better videos than that now. See, I'm not all for one that has to have gore, but like the fact that blood smeared up on the side of the window there, it's just like details that you just don't get now.
They'll be cut out now. Make it PG.
Nah, they make it green. Go on, it's not really blood, it's just green.
That's it. That's a way to get around it.
Do it Android or something now.
Aye. Van Damme.
Van Damme?
Van Damme, yeah. Van Damme, you know, I mean, I think after Street Fighter, I mean, and he got the sign of the Sony deal. He just kind of like Sony were the one to go, you know, nah, we're going to do you're a DVD star, and like Van Damme sort of, he kind of. This is when the European market opened up, but Seagal was just like, no, I'm Steven Seagal. Do you know what I mean? I think he took it pretty hard, Seagal, like.
Well, this is it, because, I mean, what was 90, so, what we're talking about, so this is 95, what's, so Stallone had just finished Rocky 5, hadn't he? Wasn't that 95?
No.
Stallone was going into Judge Dredd.
1990.
Yeah, Judge Dredd was coming.
1990, yeah. Arnie's nothing about what's he doing 95?
Junior?
Wasn't it Erasure and stuff like that?
Erasure, yeah, I would say.
Something like that.
1995, he did nothing in 1995. He did Junior in 94, and then had a year off, because Eraser came out in 96, and then Junior all the way, and then the infamous Batman and Robin.
Well, saying that, he probably filmed Jingle All the Way in 95, but it didn't get released the following year.
Yeah, probably. No.
Now Van Damme gets in his car. Boom. Van Damme's car's like got like no windows or anything like that. It looks like the fucking tank of Aliens. Do you know what I mean? It's like, right, okay.
It drives itself, doesn't it? If I remember right. Yeah. So still right. Self-driving.
Total Recall.
7 up.
See, man, that's what's going to happen, isn't it? Total Recall, they're just going to have, like, robot drivers and just...
I've said this before, like, will not be long before we have some kind of implant in our brains for entertainment. Do you know what I mean? Like, honestly, virtual reality and, like the experience, we're not far off. I mean, going back there, getting home, play tape, and it's like, alright, it's been 10 years and he's still caught up and I'm watching, like, time-stamped, like, 1994. It's quite overused, like.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, these days, like, Sony were the kind of, like, the career killers, weren't they? Like, Adam Sandler and stuff like that. And they come back on Netflix, don't they? So, these days, I'm surprised Van Damme's not all over Netflix.
Van Damme, I think the last couple of years, he's like, I think he's just worked in Europe. I don't think he's bothered, like, I know he's going to be in the next Minions movie, but I think he's last a lot of movies have been European based. Do you know what I mean?
There's your widescreen TV, Mason. There's a nice widescreen there.
Yeah. Well, yes, you are right. He is in well, it's completed now. Minion: The Rise of Gru. We had another one coming out, which is called The Last Mercenary, which, you know, probably very generic. A mysterious former Secret Service agent must urgently return to France when his estranged son is falsely accused of arms and drugs trafficking by the government, following a blunder by an overzealous bureaucrat and the mafia operation. So,
I've already said this. Jean-Claude Van Damme needs to be in Cobra Kai.
Nah.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you, he needs to be in Cobra Kai.
This could be Mr. Silver.
Power's gone to his head.
I know.
Telling us something now.
Oh, here it comes, the money shot. I don't know where you guys are at, but he's about to do the splits. Yeah!
You're way ahead, you.
Well, for
I'm
fuck's sake.
panning across the screen. I've just seen an empty bottle.
Me too.
I'll pause. Tell me when the Chinese guys got the knife. Fucking hell.
Passed out on my telly.
Still fast asleep, yeah?
Yeah, he's still fast asleep, right? Oh, he's got a red dot.
Red dot.
Wake up, yeah.
Oh, he done his takes.
Blocks.
Tears, isn't it? Honestly.
Chinese man with his knives.
Right.
Or I shouldn't say Chinese, Asian man with his knife, we don't know.
Isn't he from Mortal Kombat?
No.
Nah, he looks like him.
Wow.
Right.
generally look like him. I'm not saying they all look the same, Mason. I'm doing he look like the actor that whole thing.
And here it's coming. The money shot, the splits. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a horrible fight scene as well, though. I mean, he's treating that little knife as if it's a broadsword.
I'm sure he could use his arm behind to do something. So
Yeah, he could have done those.
Oh, he's just been sliced.
Look, now Mason,
Thomas
you must have been a canny far way ahead of us. We still haven't got the money shot.
No, he hasn't jumped up
You must
yet.
have been a canny while away.
He's just hiding behind the couch at the minute.
Oh no, he's just being kicked around the couch now.
Yeah.
There's just been an awkward scene with the guy pushed up against the wall, and then he's just been tasered. And
I've got a towel around us.
You're like a fraction ahead of us, but you're alright.
and get ready. The splits are coming.
I tasers are a little bit more lethal like back then.
Yeah, Batman
There you go.
Returns.
Jumps up, super splits.
Yeah.
Any second. Water. Teasers. Wanna do? And ready?
Well, the guy's just gone through the wall on me.
Yep.
The guy,
Just did his
have you guys seen the punish?
props for Van Damme. I mean, a sack would have fallen out if that was me.
Have you guys seen Punisher with Thomas Jane? Aye.
Aye.
When
Great
Thomas
film.
Jane gets
So
chucked through the
underrated.
fucking wall, and he gets head first into the real wall on the wrong side because the stunt guy chucks him too far. That's almost like what happened there. The guy's like, right, you're going to go through this wall, then you're going to go through the banister, then you're going to go down some stairs. Is that okay? What? Woof! Just gone.
Such a great film. I love that film.
I didn't mind the second one, but obviously.
Yeah, a short one, didn't it? Well, the second one was it not like more of a reboot?
It was just all like done under the budget one.
Yeah. Because I don't know if you've ever seen it, but did you ever see the one called Laundromat? It's like a short.
No.
It was Thomas Jane was definitely go on YouTube because it's got Rob Berman in it, it's brilliant. So basically, Thomas Jane was talking about like how he wanted to go full on Punisher, but they were like being dead light-hearted with it. So instead of actually burning people, that's how you did the ice cream scene. So basically, he was saying, I've read the Punisher and I wanted to go full on character, but they wouldn't let us. So there's a short film. I don't know who did it, who produced it, but they got him, Ron Perlman, and somebody else, and it was like it's a 5-minute film. It's just a scene in a laundromat, but it's just very much a case of, this is what I wanted the film to be. It's quite a nice little shot.
I love that Tim Tracer comes in, he's like, nah.
Bush. CGI Bush.
Now she's been in a lot of stuff, hasn't she? What's her name? Gloria Rubin.
We're not talking about the naked lass. Tell us when there's a naked lass on the bed. For fuck's sake.
Bush.
No, you like?
I'm on there now, but I was talking about the lass in the police station.
Yeah. This is why it's an 18 for when it came out.
Well,
Using companies' money for stuff like that.
perfect. Wonder if you got a link. Well, there you go. You talked about the future there, Mason, and I mean, obviously, if perverted it is, that's a big thing online apparently these days. Using, what was it? I think you can get proper ones now, but they were starting to use the PlayStation virtual headset.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
And they're now like producing porn with that. It's just like how much closer do you want to be?
Well, that's
Fair
it.
enough, yeah.
It's one thing, you know what it is, mate? I've never bought into it because this is the issue that I have with it, and I feel like it's probably going to be a big issue with a lot of people, is that it's one thing I can't get my eyes around. I don't know what it is, because it's like, there was the same when the DS brought out, the 3D DS, but you didn't need 3D glasses. I remember when they had the big setup in the Metro Centre, you can try it out, and like the lassie was like showing us how to do it, and I was like playing on it, and I wouldn't say any more than about 3 minutes, and she's like, look and go, what do you think? Because obviously you're really trying to get good feedback, and I was like, I'll be honest with you, my eyes are really like blurry, they're straining, and she goes, alright, and then there's apparently the dial, and you can turn down the 3D effect, and by the time she turned it down to what my eyes were accepting, it might as well have not been 3D.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, that doesn't work at all. I mean, obviously, it speaks for itself because it wasn't a massive thing, did it? It ended up falling a bit flat, so it's not the future. But when it comes to like virtuality and stuff like that, I can't get on board with it. Like,
right.
I like the concept.
Well, let's have a quick chat about this concept we're about to hear, because like Van Damme has got in a fucking space shuttle, right? They're all counting down like fucking Stargate's about to happen, right?
I thought it was a roller coaster.
Well, he's literally about to shoot off in the rocket. She's bricking herself, and he's just like, yeah. Don't worry about it. The yellow dots or the red dots, keep your eye on that. And right, okay, they're all like counting down, and like they shoot off. They go through this portal, and they end up fucking falling through the eye into the river, right? Where does the fucking shuttle go?
There's a spaceship.
Where does the shuttle go?
That's what I'm thinking.
It's made of candy floss, so when it goes in the water, it just dissolves.
No, but they come back in it. So there you go.
Unless it's like orbits or something like that. I know, it's weird, isn't it? You should get a telephone box.
Oh, that would never work, that.
Or fridge.
I mean, they've got some scratches on the windscreen, like it's been through some history, not like. Oh, there's a light.
Across the bright. It's like something from Battlestar Galactica from 1970s. The Vipers.
Just when they sign it, it just reminded me of like a Disneyland roller coaster. You know, the one that they want to make you feel like you're actually in a spaceship. I think it's a missed opportunity. That's good.
And here's a model. I think it's a model, isn't it? It's a small little model work, if I remember right.
I love the head going back. That's some good acting. That.
Fucking scream. Yeah, they disappear into the bubble there, and then all of a sudden, they fucking just appear flying through the sky. Right there, big bubble. Where's the ship gone? Come on.
Screaming and peeing.
Oh, I don't like that effect. The effect on the faces were too much. That was a bit silly.
But where does the ship go? That's what I want to know. It's, you know what I mean? It's like, where does that ship go?
Kind of in a space a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like, see, you've seen what it's like when Bill and Ted travel through time. It's probably just floating around somewhere in the electric kind of storm.
Type.
Yeah, that's the one. Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense though, Mason, when you think about it, because obviously their intention to time travel would have to be like a little bit incognito. So maybe there is a system in play where the ship doesn't come through because they can't have a random spaceship in 1994.
How big is that little map thing you had there, your mobile phone? I love it when people fall in water and they get dried off within 2 seconds. It's so dry.
Well, she had a big nipple on her there. That might be why it was an 18.
Not the bush that we saw like 5 minutes ago. The pokey nipples.
So it does scream a bit like Canadian. I mean, it's definitely America. They haven't. I don't think they've cheaped out, but I think they've definitely filmed a lot of this in Canada, I'll imagine.
probably tell you in about 5 seconds.
No.
Barclays and St. Nicola, Vancouver, British
Vancouver,
Columbia.
there you go.
Canadian, yeah.
Oh, good. Cheaper.
That's research for you.
It's got his Nokia 3310.
Well, you need
Was
some
Game Boy.
study.
It's possible massive to all that. Thanks.
Oh yeah, creeping in. It's a really good death coming up in a bit when the guy gets his arm frozen and like kicked off. Dun dun dun. Creepy, creepy, creepy.
Macomb.
I think they've cast well for the guy who plays his younger self.
He's going in an extremely dangerous place. I only know that because of the very obvious sign on the wall.
Look on to Robocop.
Yeah, well. I could work in this franchise for a crossover, couldn't it?
With Timecop and
Robocop
Robocop.
and a time cop. Yeah?
Hang on, who's that guy? I recognise him. The manufacturer guy.
He's been in a few things as well.
Oh my god.
What, the one with the cardigan on?
Aye.
Yeah.
I recognise him from something classic 80s thing. Let's have a little look.
Did he say what his name was?
No.
I think it was Kevin Kevin Mc.
Oh
Is it? Yeah.
yeah. Right.
Snakes on a plane.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
No.
Oh. Fantastic Four, nope. Something. Neverending Story 3, there we go.
That's the one.
That's where I recognise it from.
Does he never end
Everything in the world. Watchmen. The effects in is a kid, it's sort of like Terminator 2, isn't it? The baby was walking through the time portal.
To be honest with you, I feel like it's done better than. It's better than worse, if that makes sense. Like, it's got a few bits of special effects that haven't quite worked, but most of it's quite a decent look. So yeah, I mean, they're not just cheaping out on it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look like a TV movie, not all the proper 1980s like CGI. It actually looks alright. And again, they've done a really good job of the effects.
It's definitely been made for cinema. They haven't cheaped around with it. I think it's just, you know what I mean. It was like it's part of the product at the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Explains, yeah, that two things kind of be in the same space, doesn't it? It touches up.
It foreshadows the end in this, yeah.
Yeah. He's lovely, isn't he?
I recognise him from a lot of films, Ron Silver, but they're brilliantly cast as opposites. It's quite good.
Looks like it. Is it not Tim?
No.
His younger son? Not just like de-aged him or something?
Yeah.
Or just being broad beard? I always thought it was him.
No, it's not now.
Huh? You nipped.
Yo.
You nicked.
Just coming down there, taking on all them henchmen at once. Brave, isn't he?
Now you're ahead of me. henchman look like from New Jack City?
Now that is a classic
Yeah,
film,
I
New
think
Jack
that
City.
game.
Oh, not Batman again. He's doing a Batman for others.
So I was having a quick look at. I'm not going to go through all of them, but like if you think of like action stars, we're talking about like what each of the people were doing. I've got obviously mentioned earlier On Deadly Ground, Seagal. We had a film with Dolph Lundgren called Men of War. Wesley Snipes did drop zone this year. Alec Baldwin was popping up in a couple of things. Not the most common action star, but you know he's doing a bit. Beverly Hills Cop 3. Aye. Oh no, hold on. It's Alec Baldwin. Yeah, it's Alec Baldwin now. Get the Baldwin brothers mixed up.
I got Team America. Alec Baldwin. Oh no.
Did you say Beverly Hills Cop 3?
Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Yeah. That's good one.
Speed. Stallone brought out The Specialist. So yeah, I've got to say, as far as action stars go, I mean that was '94, so it was quite a. Everyone had their own project going on, except for Stallone. Except for Schwarzenegger.
Well, Stallone was. They were after him to play Judge Dredd, weren't they? But he passed on it because he was like, nah, taking the helmet off. And then when Stallone was going to pass on it, they like, agreed to take the helmet off.
I knew you would say that.
Oh.
But the thing is, though, like, that film wasn't a bad film. This is like where I fall on what I was talking about with Resident Evil and stuff like that. It's like, at the end of the day, like, don't take on a franchise if you want to do your own thing. Because, like you say, it's already established. You're gonna like piss off somebody. Yeah. So, like the fact that if they called it any other than Judge Dredd, that would have been probably a well-received film.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
For a family film.
Well, we'll have to do stuff like Dredd and all that. I mean, now that we're taking our break away from doing our series because we've literally been doing series back to back at the moment. Alright, shootout's happening. Big explosion. You guys got an explosion yet? Has you just walked into the factory on your take?
And I just the guy just got a scar on his face after Van Damme kicked his other person.
It's a nice little tint though to do that, like, but.
Oh yeah. Well, this is it. I mean, when you're taking on time travel as a theory of films, it's never going to be perfect because it's not happening. It's not real. But it's kind of one of those things where, like, if you take, I don't know, a top 10 time traveling films, they've all got their own way of doing it. You know, there's always like a different perspective on it.
Paul, you might be right. It might be the same actor because, like, that was green screen. That when they're talking to each other.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it looks like it's the same guy. They just obviously just buffed him up and give him a shave.
Well, he's got different hair. Like, they've got his hair like side part and haven't whereas one where he's all back. So it looks like it is.
Yeah, mate. That is definitely green screen. That like.
Because say the colouring on his skin, he'd only stood like a second, less than a foot away from him, and he's completely different colour. So it's done the best. Yeah.
Van Damme's just going up on the air.
A bit different. Of course, it's always the same guy, like. But don't want to spend that much money on recasting someone else.
Well, here comes the.
I mean, even if they had, they would have played a good job.
Yeah, definitely.
This is where the guy gets his arm frozen and Van Damme just kicks him to his death.
That's where Van Damme works in B&Q. With a forklift license. And there's two, like, barrels in front of him says danger, explosion, and he's still shooting at him.
The guy's just had his arm frozen on mine, and he doesn't feel sorry for him, he kicks it off. Yeah. Witty line, boosh!
Van Damme, yeah.
Just drop that model head first off there, boom. Pretty brutal death.
I'm sure I just seen a Joker in the background.
Yeah, I noticed him.
Wow.
There you go, he's now got frozen now.
Yeah.
It's the fall in the manuscripts. Mine's well ahead of yours. And you guys are like, what's happening here? Is it because of the frame rate, isn't it?
Well, to be honest with you, the reason why me and Paul are on par with each other now, because like about 10 minutes in, I jumped to Prime, because I forgot it was on Prime, so I'm watching on my big telly now. But that's why we're synced up quite well, because we're watching the same thing.
You're watching on DVD, yeah, which is like a slower PAL resolution, and we're probably watching a PAL NTSC on digital. So obviously the frame rate's completely different. 24 frames a second on Prime, and I think it's less on DVD. So your frame rates are different. Sorry.
So it's your fault, Mason.
Alright, sorry.
Overall.
Yeah.
Get Prime.
I've got Prime.
Street Fighters on there.
I went up my loft, you know what I mean? I went up my loft and dug out Timecop for yous. I packed them all away, made them in boxes. You know, it was the first lockdown. I watched 50 Van Damme films in a month. Do you know what I mean? 50.
Well, that's not very smart. If you know it's on Prime. Yeah. I'm all for physical media, Mason, but why would you go all the way through your loft when it's on your TV already?
Because I don't have Prime in the editing room.
In HD. And it's in a 1.85 format, so again, treat yourself. Not your 2.35 one. Letterbox. Bloody nerds.
There you go. Comes back in his fucking spaceship. Just like that.
We're not there yet, man, Mason. We're not there yet.
Fuck off.
We're still in the warehouse.
Well, this is Timecop. I'm in the future and you guys can be in the past. I'm the penis and you can be with balls just dragging the fuck behind us. Like, literally, like, where does that spaceship go and where does it come back from? And is it not a protocol? Is it not a protocol if, like, oh yeah, one of our agents is coming to come back from time and no one knows what the fuck's wrong with him? Like, do you not think that so much changed? Is there not a protocol in there for that?
Well, something has changed, but Lee won't know, will it?
But it should be a protocol if they're meant to be a super agency that discovered time travel. Like, he's come back, something's not right.
It's Bitcoin Industries now.
Well, listen, it's run by Herms. That's the future.
But Lee wouldn't have noticed any difference at all. They don't know any difference at all because obviously it's Back to the Future 2 stuff. Came in and bought him, didn't he? He's been running it for years, man. What are you on about? So everyone else would be lived through it, and he hasn't.
Yeah. Mess with your head.
It's like the whole thing when it goes back.
To be alternative.
He's lived this, yeah. And then what happens? Did you just sit there and have an epileptic fit until like his brain goes, right, that's fine? Because like he's lived 10 years and then all of a sudden he changes something, like his wife comes back. So is he going to live 2 parallel universes? Like wake up like Ashton Kutcher on the floor with a massive nosebleed, like what's real and not real? Do you know what I mean?
There's two different versions of them out there.
Aye, but how would his brain manufacture that? Imagine going on a quiz show and going, who took down the Berlin Wall? And he goes, the Africans. And that in one reality, that's how it happened to him. Do you know what I mean? How would his brain know what happened?
Well, if he went back, saved that, yeah, then he wouldn't be... Oh, it's freaking out.
He would though?
Then none of this would have happened.
But his brain would remember doing that?
Yeah, no. The bad guys only went back to kill him and his wife because he found out what was going on, didn't he?
Yeah.
So then if he went back... Oh, freaking hell, I don't know.
It gets messy, doesn't it? That's when again, I can't recommend that Predestination enough. Like, literally, I was like glued to it. Then it ended, and I was like, is my nose bleeding? Because I'm trying to work that out.
The good old White House.
Just remind me a lot of Stargate, like the big like room and all that around the gate and stuff.
I could never get away with that TV show, Stargate.
You know, it is strangely, I actually love the film. I found it on my dad's VHS, and I just didn't know what it was. I just picked it up and thought, oh, I'll give it a watch. I loved it, and for some reason, just never got around to watching the actual TV series.
Well, the TV series is a massive hit, but like I was shocked when I watched the Blu-ray of Stargate. I picked it up for £1. I went, you know what? Pick it up, and I put it on, and there's loads of footage cut out. And one of the most crucial scenes is before Kurt Russell's character goes through the Stargate, he is like shown through the second door, and there's a third artifact that you only see in the director's cut, and the artifact is like the actual thinks half of its body into the stone, as in sort of it tried to came through, and they knew that there was danger, and I was like, fucking hell, it's like Waterworld again when there's like loads of stuff put in, you're like, fuck me, why did you delete that? It's so much interesting.
Yeah, I remember watching Stargate in RE. We watched it in RE class, Stargate. That's all we used to do is watch films in class.
Okay, so what relevance was that?
With religion?
There is no God, it's just aliens.
No, honestly, you just put anything on. Here's me wanting to learn about Jesus and Christianity, and instead of listening about Kurt Russell.
That should totally be optional, like there's certain classes you get forced on in school and you're like, right, do you know what I mean? It's like, can we not learn about some of that, you know, can be like more useful in like home cooking and stuff like that? Like, oh, you've got to take that as an optional. You gotta go, we'll teach you to cook.
Whoa. No, we had to do cookery.
Aye, but it was optional.
Not like that. No. In my school, it was you had to do it from year 7 all the way to year 10, but then from year 10, you got to pick your classes, so that's when it became optional for us. But we had at least 2-3 years of cookery.
No, we didn't. Can you tell me when you used to set some people on fire? Yeah, we're on fire. But then again, though, Mason, you would have went to public school, did you? Yeah. Right, hang on, wait. The most pointless bit of this movie, walks out in front of a truck, ducks. It's like, where does the shuttle go? Where does the shuttle go?
Needs a special effect.
What shuttle are you talking about, Mason? There's no shuttle?
Oh, fucking hell, man.
It's just a movie.
Were you on about my
Just
school there?
Just a podcast.
What about my
You
school?
went to public school, didn't you?
Yeah.
I went to Catholic school. Mason, did you go to Catholic school, Paul?
No, I went to Kenton School. Right. We had technology 1 week and cookery 1, but it changed every 2 weeks.
Right. So we were. Like,
My school was that bad. They would send you for PE on a Friday morning, and they wouldn't even have showers working. And then you'd be like, all day you would just be like stinking, and like, yeah, like what, like you see all these American stuff where they have all like the big showers and all the joy. Like in England, won't even turn on the fucking tap to wash your hands.
We got forced to have showers after every sport lesson, and the teacher would make sure you went in the showers. It was horrible.
Nah, we didn't have anything like that.
Used to touch you and lick you on the way there. So look back to the 1984.
Oh, when knackered you were.
There you go. You were my partner.
You betrayed.
Yeah, because she didn't go back, did she?
Nah. Well, her dead body's still in the past, isn't it? Hold on, how the fuck that work?
No, she wasn't dead.
No, she isn't. He is in the past with her. She was found shot at the scene, so she's obviously woke up in hospital.
She's shot in the scene.
Got shot like 3 times.
In 1984, at the same time as Mia Sarah went to her pregnancy test. It happens one day, man. One day.
Yes, it all looks in. I love it how every time you see an American hospital and someone's like needs help, they're always in like a private room. In England, you go down and there's like, oh hiya, you know, like you go to visit somebody and there's 8 people in the room and you're like, right, awkward. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Coffins.
When I was in hospital last year, there was 4 of us, and there were just like 3 old blokes. One got moved on to another room, and I swear you couldn't write it. We were sitting there chatting away, and you could hear clinking. I was like, what's that noise, clinking? And no word lie, this proper like, I mean, he was harmless old man, but in my head I just thought, I bet you he's one of those psychos. But it was just like a bloke, proper from chained up, like Franklin prison. And he was all chained up with like 2 guards around him, and he was in the bed next to me, and I was like, well, that's not fucking creepy at all. And the funny thing is, he was out of his head, like, because he was trying to sleep on the bed the wrong way around, and the guards were like laughing because they were just sitting there going, what are you doing? You know, do you want help? And he's like, no, don't want help. But like, there was a proper big kerfuffle as well, because there was like, does he want something to eat? Yeah, he's due something. And it's like, oh, this is the thing, right? The thing that makes us nervous, he wasn't allowed a knife or fork at all. And I was like, well, that's just like, that feels too like American for me. It's like, oh wait, give him a plaque of knife and fork, he's not going to do much damage with that.
Just there as well, he would actually it just so happened that his wife's pregnancy test would be right there in front of his face.
Yeah.
And she's dead and shit.
One day, doesn't it? Take about a future.
Of course, instantly, like she's dead, the music goes off and all that while he's there, and like, hey, he instantly blamed.
And she's gone.
Right, dead.
Didn't he get done for this one, I got?
Not the fucking Kurgan walking around with a big fucking mullet. And the
future buddies who remain wrestlers. I'm not on that bit yet, anyway. I am now.
I have just seen the back of the heads.
Yeah, me too.
They don't stand out at all.
nah.
No. Excuse me, can I ask you some questions, please? I cannot do it. I cannot do it, Van Damme.
Oh, he's going to jump out another window. It's his go-to trick, that. I mean, he had a good memory to know that rail would be there. There's a film called Enemies Closer, and by IMDb, it's the last film the director directed. And Van Damme turns up as a Mountie. He's so fucking mental, he's the bad guy, and it's just fucking weird. But this is another film where there's more than one Van Damme. Van Damme he must be on record the most cloned actor within like a movie series. Like he's in like this, Double Impact, Replicant. Do you know what I mean? There's like loads of things where there's more than one Van Damme.
I think they're trying to recreate the success of Timecop, really, wasn't it?
Well, it was a thing to do as well, though, wasn't it? Like the idea of like using that sort of cinema. Like we can actually put 2 people who look the same in one room. Let's do it.
He just assaulted a guy for no reason at all. Yet.
Now we don't.
But turn around. Oh my god, you look so old. That's what she's thinking.
Well, the mullet coming. Mullet's chasing him.
You've got a minute. You've got a minute now. What's going on?
Shaved at the sides as well.
Come with me if you want to live.
Oh, he's got a unique style, alright.
Future bad guys.
Like in Highlander 2.
Things you could hold someone by the hand. Yeah.
This is probably like sexual assault in the future.
He's trying to save her. She just breaks down in tears. Oh, come on, man, just believe him. Who else is gonna be? threatening at all, did it?
Nah, at least he's gone for a colourful t-shirt just to make people think he's a little bit more friendly.
Right, Van Damme. I never thought him as a strong actor, but obviously it wasn't his natural. He was sort of like, he was really pushed to get into the movie business. You know what I mean? He had a couple of trial and fails, but he was determined, absolutely determined, and like it took Bloodsport to come along to show like what he could actually do.
I mean, it's the role of the same backstory, really. I mean, you got Stallone who has a serious speech impediment, and so therefore, you know, really, if it wasn't for the fact that he was a built bloke, probably wouldn't have done much. Schwarzenegger, he obviously got miles better quite quickly, but he was still very much didn't quite sound like your typical action star. Like, you know, his English wasn't perfect. But then you've got like Van Damme, who's a bit out of his element, that all seem to really capitalise on the fact that they look the part. And whether most people agree with it, I reckon if they were all in their prime today, I don't know how much, you know, I think they would have been more like stunt doubles rather than actual action stars.
Well, that's it. It's kind of like, I mean, today, who are our action stars in today's market? Jason Statham comes to mind.
Well, yeah, but you haven't really got any, really, have you? Because, I mean, I would then say Chris Hemsworth, it's an action star, but I wouldn't put him in the same category as the modern version of Stallone or anyone like that.
The modern version of Van Damme is Scott Adkins. Like, he's the modern Van Damme.
But then Tony Jaa,
Spinach isn't in Die Hard, it's just an everyday man.
Well, Tony Jaa, you know, he had that stunt on back, was pretty much a showreel, and there was massive hype, but then he sort of just didn't really get that break in Hollywood he needed.
Yeah. Well, he did that new Monster Hunter, but apparently not that. I mean, I watched it the other day. It's not great. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I never played the games, but I would say like they really missed an opportunity with Tony Jaa. I mean, not like say too much, but he didn't speak English. Even his fight scenes were quite like under par from what we know he can actually physically do.
He's in one of the Fast and Furious, I couldn't tell you which one.
Oh.
I think it's like,
I've seen most of them and I couldn't tell you which one.
5 or 6 he's in, I think. He's just a henchman.
Well, this is it. I mean, like I say, that's what they're pretty much looking at him now for. I mean, On Back, I think, was alright, but the issue with On Back is, like you say, though, it was a reel. It was a reel of what he was capable of doing. And I feel like that's all it really operated on. It was just very much a case of, like, people looked at him and go, alright, he's great for a fight scene, but we can't really make a whole film for him.
Well, to talk about it I think we've lost Paul again.
Might have lost.
Oh, we completely lost Paul Ray.
I've lost him altogether now.
Paul Ray has been sucked into the vortex of time.
Yeah.
I'll get him back.
I'm going to say, do you need to be online or?
There you go. Ringing Paul Ray back. This film is quite short. It normally it's running at tell me about the back of the box here. Fuck me.
Like 99 minutes, isn't it? Like an hour and a half?
Yeah. 99 minutes. Back to the house. There's no real like big stunt kind of like action sequence, you know, chase or anything like that. There's a couple of fight scenes here and there. It's not like hugely fucking, you know, boom bang thing, you know what I mean?
Nah, it's very much a sci-fi novel in an action format, in my eyes. Like I say, there's still a lot of talk, there's still a lot of like jargon going on.
I think Paul Ray might have ran for Paul Ray Pudsey Poo.
Is Paul Ray now ringing? Because it said calling now, but it's now gone to ringing.
Send the fucking
Is he
Paul.
ringing you?
I don't know. Hey Paul.
Hey, Paul, you back?
Reconnecting.
Oh, God. He's having a hard time with your connection, I think.
Strokey Ray is back.
Bless him, it's always him.
It is always Paul. Oh, he's gone again. Fucking hell, man. Again. We've been fine on all the four-ways and stuff.
Yeah, because he had a bit of a strokey moment. I think we've won it about man, but he's been alright sometimes.
Hello?
Hello. Honestly, signal's terrible.
Yeah, it's been bad
I
tonight.
just thought he went for a poo.
He probably did. He's masking it by the signal.
No, it's so bad at the moment.
Well, just saying, though, you've had a good run recently.
Yeah, I know.
We're just saying while you're away, Paul. The film doesn't really have a big action sequence, does it really? Not like a big
No,
car
not till
chase,
the end, really.
huge big fight. I mean, they're in the house now, and like that's even like. This is it, though, isn't it? This is the end of the movie in the house.
Oh yeah. I would class this as the fight outside in the rain and that. But 1994 films we have Street Fighter, the movie, Clear Present Danger, Legends of the Fall, Speed, obviously.
That was the action movie of the year. Speed, like that was the massive hit.
Yeah.
River Wild, Natural Born Killers, Blown Away, The Mask, Stargate, The Shadow, New Nightmare, Clear Present Danger, Ace Ventura, Junior, Maverick, loads of different films.
Big year, I-95. Yeah. I mean, like, so going back to like, there was two films called Blown Away because Corey Feldman's in a film called Blown Away as well. But like, Speed was the one that I mean, I wonder if Van Damme, Stallone, and Schwarzenegger passed on Speed because Speed was the massive hit of 1995, 94.
Well, Keanu Reeves was a bit of an underdog, wasn't he?
Ah, totally.
At that stage, he wasn't doing a lot.
It was Point Break before that, wasn't it? And that was it, really, and Bill and Ted.
Well, he had Bram Stoker's Dracula, but he got a lot of backlash off that, didn't he? Bram Stoker's.
Oh yeah, I love that film.
Yeah.
And Johnny Mnemonic was made before Speed, but then held back until Speed was released.
Yeah, Speed was a big film, like, great film.
The second one's terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible,
Yeah.
the second one.
Oh, it's got him from Lost Boys, isn't it?
No, Jason Patrick's in it, and like, fair enough. Like, he's literally just been... just been replaced. But like, the script, the idea, everything... No wonder Keanu Reeves said, nope.
Yeah.
But there's another film that...
Wasn't it like, didn't him and what do you call her? The lassie, didn't they form a relationship in Speed?
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock, that's one,
She was everywhere, wasn't she, in the mid-90s?
Well, that's it. I mean...
I'm sure they got together on that film.
Well, they rejoined and worked together in the Lake House, and that's another time-travelling film that just fucks with your head. Like, he's in the past, she moves in this house, in the letterbox outside the house, she puts a letter in and he gets it in the past, and it's a fucking mint film, but like, that's another film where you're like, brains bleeding, please explain.
Can you guys remember those TV aerials from years ago? EA, those were the days. TV aerials.
It's a very American thing to have such easy access to your roof.
I'm going to tell you this as well. That is a fucking massive house for just a little couple. It's fucking huge.
All American houses are massive, really, aren't they?
I was going to say, I think that was the thing though, like back in them times, maybe a little bit. Probably average. Oh, you mean height?
This guy's about to do the fucking Jeff Hardy swanton bomb. Whoop! Off the fucking ring.
I forgot us to. Is anyone still knocked out? 1994. Van Damme knocked out still. I can remember.
One of them swinging off the drain pipe. Yeah, 1984 is knocked out.
That's. Yeah. There he is. Okay, I can see him now. I was getting confused. The one in the drain pipe's 2004. Van Damme in it. Yeah.
I still think Van Damme was amazing as the bad guy in Expendables 2. Class.
That's my favourite one.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it is amazing, but I will never not laugh at the fact that they literally called him Villain. So, we've got a villain here, we don't know what to call him. I know what we can call him. Villain. Just put an accent on it.
That's my favourite. Let's put him as number 2.
You know what it is? I think all three of them stand out on their own. The first one was definitely 80s kind of tribute, whereas the second one, it still is, but it kind of starts owning itself for what it is. But obviously, Van Damme really pulls out the works for it. But to be honest with you, I've got absolutely no shame in admitting I didn't expect much from Mel Gibson in the third one, and he just blew that part away. He did an awesome job of being a villain.
I mean, looking back at the first one, looking back at the first one, obviously Stallone written and directed it, which again you're going to bring in that Rambo kind of seriousness to it. But I think what the first one lacked was a bad guy. Eric Roberts to me was not a credible threat, and it was cool that Stone Cold Steve Austin was the henchman, but there wasn't a credible bad guy, and we got the, you know what I mean? It was just the second one, we got what we wanted. I mean, even with Willis Schwarzenegger and the big shootout, man, in the second one, it was just fucking class.
Yeah.
This is trying to watch out who's who here. I mean, he's a hard case, Van Damme. I mean, he just got shot and fucking did a backwards dive off the fucking house and he's still alive, you know what I mean?
Looks like John Wick, the end of John Wick 3. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Aye.
It's there's no way he survived that ball, but he did.
Hang on a minute. No, he's too young. Double look. I thought that was fucking Henry Thomas there, the henchman that's got the gun put towards Van Damme's face. E.T.? Elliot? Yeah, holding the gun against Van Damme. I don't think it is. Fucking Turtles ooze can as a bomb. I want to get a look at that guy. It looks like Henry Thomas.
Daily credits on it.
I'm not seeing his name on the list, I'm having a look, but...
Oh, 2 Van Dammes. Well, Henry Thomas has been shot in the head if it was Henry Thomas.
You're definitely in the future, you're right.
I am. 2 Van Dammes. The Kurgans just fucking speared Van Damme through the window.
Nah, I'm not quite there yet.
I'll pause it, I'll count to 10 and I'll catch up with this.
We're still watching the mechanic timer.
Yeah. I was going to say, Prime's got some good films on at the moment, very impressive.
Oh, awesome. Well, what you were mentioning to Paul, I said I only signed up for the freebie. Here I am just paying for it now because, like I say, it's got plenty on.
I just not make up $5.99 a month.
You said I still got to look at that.
It just my tips in when you go, I'll watch that, and it's Prime only, and it's you've got to pay for it, and I'm like, ugh, why put it on there?
Well, you've got the one that says free to me.
Free to me, yeah. Because me and Paul were talking about the other night, if you go on the top bar, it says free to me, and it just basically only shows up what is part of your subscription. And still, like I say, quite a lot. There's loads I want to watch on it.
The Van Damme show. John Claude Van Johnson.
Amazing, isn't it?
Well funny.
Yeah. Is this now Lethal Weapon?
Aye.
It's not Christmas.
Waiting on along.
Want to go at the championship?
I need to watch them again, actually. I think I watched them last year. I need to watch Lethal Weapons again. I tried watching Mad Max 2 a little bit. I tried watching Mad Max 2. I just couldn't get back into it. I don't know why.
Really?
I don't know. Maybe it's because it's a bit slow at the start.
Yeah. No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, if you want to go for the best one, it's obviously the third one. We don't need another hero. You know, it's not a great song at all, but it was just such a good song for a film. I think it was all like it's just that time. It was Mad Max. I mean, it's not that you can get much in this day and age, but I watched it. I can't remember what I watched it on, but I watched it on like the original Australian version, and it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, it always annoys me that like obviously America is so up their own arse to say, well, if it's going to make money, they're going to have to talk American, otherwise it won't be successful at all.
Well, obviously the second one came out before the first one in America. Just Road Warrior.
Did I? Yeah, Road Warrior, yeah.
There again, there's a timer now.
I know he's got. I mean, it says a gun, but it's more like a torch.
She just blamed him. I can see. She hasn't changed at all, did she? Yeah, Mia Sarah.
Nah.
She looks exactly the same. Oh yeah, he got a scar, didn't he, when he punched him before?
Yeah.
Well, she's been shot.
And again, we call them ahead of time to come at the right time. Good trick.
And then we get a homage to a bit of the Thing turned into a fucking weird blob with teeth and like what? I mean, that's almost as bad as Blade 2, the deleted ending with the fucking blood god. That.
Oh dear.
I remember the CGI was a bit weird when he throws them together.
Oh, it hasn't aged well.
A second. I forgot what his little pun is. Yeah, I forgot.
Time's up. No.
That's it.
That's horrible. Yeah, that's CGI. Not good.
That's.
I'm melting. I don't know, like with a little bit of coloration, you could probably make that better now for a time.
Go back and do a special edition of Timecop.
Yeah. Well, this is it. The irony, have to go back in time. Oh, here comes the slow motion run. Every year each film's got it just before the explosion.
We've all done that and run out to explosion.
Well, listen,
slow down. He just throws it, doesn't he? I remember right. Douche.
Humpty Dumpty put all the way. Oh, he's come back in his fucking truck.
Fucking spoilers, Nathan.
Nah.
We're having a bloody moment here where we're on the lawn and he's holding his dead wife again.
He's come back, he's perfectly fine, he's got no scars on him, you know, just fuck, you know.
Reshoot.
He still remembers everything, but he doesn't remember. See, he doesn't remember, she'd be like, oh, do you remember when you fucked us over the porch now? Do you know what I mean? It's like, he doesn't know, his brain's not bleeding, he's not having a butterfly effect, all the past has changed.
But then he should remember the past with her.
Yeah, he should, but he doesn't. He's just like, So imagine that, like, oh yeah, like you're back for 10 years and you're like, have you ever been there? Oh, I don't like this. You're like, oh, do you remember when we watched this movie? What movie? Do you know what I mean?
And won't he not be done for messing with time? Won't be court-martialed and trialed? But then again, that wouldn't have happened anyway.
No.
So none of this would have happened. The film is pointless now.
I wonder if it's like kind of when you're going through the teleport. I wonder if like something happens where they just like kind of the brain wipes. So like, because that would make sense to have some sort of plan, wouldn't it? Because the whole idea of being able to go back in time and coming back to manipulate, you'd think there was some sort of procedure to stop them from remembering stuff.
I mean, if you go on IMDb, there's probably more rants about the time travel paradox than anything else.
No, you can't do that anymore. IMDb, you're not allowed to have an opinion anymore.
Why not?
They took the forum off.
Have they?
Didn't I know that?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, that happened that was years ago. Like literally a few years ago now, yeah, you can't go on the forum anymore because apparently it was getting too much. So IMDb just took it off.
Oh, well, IMDb also took off coming soon posters. That's the only way I knew a fucking film's coming out, just scrolling along there. Took that off now.
Bomber jackets, that's what they were called.
That's what you got. Bomber jacket.
Didn't took me an hour and a half to realise what they were called.
I mean, his house has been completely rebuilt.
Nifna. But this is it now. This is where you have to kind of just accept the fact that time travelling films will not make sense.
He's got a kid. I mean, this kid's going to run out and go, what the fuck are you called? Do you know what I mean? He's not going to remember his own kid.
But he should, bro. He should remember everything from 1994 onwards and how his life has changed. Do you know, like, Back to the Future, if the photograph comes back, it's kind of like that. He should remember everything from 1994 to now. He should know that.
I mean, maybe he's just an idiot, though. Imagine the future's like, he's just an idiot. That's the explanation. So he's now got back the house again. Yeah.
But I was not included in this first it.
Oh, there's his son, who he has no idea.
I get you a bomber jacket later on.
Daddy, what are you going to get for me? What are you going to get me for your birthday? When's your birthday? What? Do you know what I mean? Mine's finished. Canadian casting.
Mason through time.
I'll wait till you guys have caught up as it goes to black.
Yeah. We're having a snog on the porch.
Give me some sugar, baby.
And Paul Ray will be there in
Yeah,
it.
he should. I don't know. I couldn't hear any of it, so I don't even know what I'm going to say. I'm not joking.
How many Casio watches?
Oh my god, that's meant. No. I've got it. How many read between the lines? You know, but we has his foot up. It goes between the lines. Or between the souls or something like that.
To me personally, I'm gonna say only a 3. To be honest with you.
What?
I've got quite a lot of I've got quite a bit of nostalgia for this film for when it was made, right? And I'm not questioning that it's badly made. It's just watching it there. It's like there's not much really going on. Do you know what I mean? There's not a lot in the space shuttle really frustrates us. I can't express how much frustration I've got over that space shuttle that just disappears and reappears, and we're expected to go. Where's that go? Do you know what I mean? I think for Van Damme. Huh?
It's just a movie.
I know it's just a fucking movie, but I just think it's not. Yeah, just a 3. It's just, it doesn't have really memorable score. It doesn't really have, it's Van Damme against a bad guy. He's not going to fight to the death to the end too. You know what I mean? And that's a change in plan. Of anything, but again, it's just the butterfly effect of time and how it doesn't really acknowledge that. So I've still got loads of nostalgia. I'll still remember walking down and seeing the quad poster at the pictures and going, oh, Van Damme's got a film out called Timecop, in that era where you just do not forget them posters. But it's definitely not one of Van Damme's better films, and I don't even think hang on, because I am doing. They're English. Before you guys have a fucking little rant, they're English. Jambo Shango and Ralphie. We're doing a crossover episode, and we are doing Van Damme movies, the best of, and. Oh, I need to rethink my top 5 then, because I had fucking Timecop in at number 4. That's definitely not fucking happening now. I'm going to change that. I'm glad I fucking revisited that. So yeah, I'll be I'm just going to put think about it on it. Yeah, only a 3. So my best Van Damme films are Bloodsport, Expendables 2, Death Warrant, Hard Target, and Swelter. Van Damme's.
I mean, I said harsh, but I'll be honest, I was always going to give it a 4. And I think that's generous. I think you're probably right, to be fair, Mason. I think because if you put this up against Van Damme films, I mean, don't get me wrong, we mentioned earlier on that he has had a few flops, but those were later in his career. This is still quite a young Van Damme, and so when you put this up against Bloodsport and Universal Soldier, stuff like that, this just doesn't quite have the bite. You mentioned it earlier on, there is no big finale scene. It kind of is, but it's so kind of drawn out. It's not. It feels like he wasn't challenged enough. You know, like I say, he's got to have a fight to the death, or it's got to be something quite dramatic, whereas, to be honest with you, this felt the same tone from start to finish. I didn't get too much of a start, middle and end. Obviously watching this on mute, so I did a lot of lip reading, but in terms of how the story went, it did go from like A to B with the straight line. So even the end, like I say, the big fight didn't feel like a big fight, didn't feel like a finale of the film. So I do think it's quite a low mark if you compare it with a lot of these other films. I like the fact that it's a bold move, like I say, putting Van Damme in. I don't want to call it a sophisticated film, but it's not your kind of traditional meathead kind of action film. There was a little bit of the science in it. There's obviously a lot of talking about how it works. I personally don't mind the fact that we don't know where the spaceship goes. I just assume they're going somewhere, and that's all there is to it. I think a solid 4.
Another thing about it though as well is like it starts off and we get it's in the past, and the guy mows down all the people with a fucking machine gun in the past, and they're all like, fucking hell, I've got to put fucking gunpowder down my gun before I can shoot him. And you've got that.
That opening scene was weird.
And well, the thing is, right, it tiptoes, and that's an interesting concept. And as Paul said, then you get to that Wall Street bit when he's putting on the headphones, and you think, that's interesting. We then get the story of Van Damme and his lass. She dies. He goes to a very dark future where it's always in the same facility. You don't see the scope of the world. He gets in his little car where he can't see out the window. We can't see out the window. And then he goes back to like it all takes place in the 90s. You know what I mean? It's all in 1994, the year this came out. So it's not exactly like, you know what I mean? It tiptoed around the idea of the past. We didn't see much of the future, but it just pisses around in 1984, and we have 2 Van Dammes again.
We had the double impact. What about you, Paul? Where are you sitting on this?
I'll give it a 5 because I enjoyed it for what it is. Just a cheesy action hero for me. Like I said, it brings good memories of good old times, and as like a kid, a teenager, you don't really pay attention to why he's getting rich for and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But I enjoyed it. It is what it is. It's from its time. If it did it now, it would be completely different. The effects would be completely different. It'd be a bit more action, but it'd be a PG just to get more money.
I can imagine this being one of those remakes.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been.
Yeah, well, like Looper played with that one, though, didn't it? Bruce Willis, that was time traveling.
Yeah, I think so.
I think time traveling is a fucking hard thing to write. Like again, I mean, you Paul on about that. I mean, this was an 18; it's now a 15. Do you know what I mean? But it's just.
Well, they mentioned it in Avengers. You know, it was one of those things where it was quite well done because, of course, they literally talk about how they're doing time travel, but then the joke about it saying like, "Oh, don't pay attention to a Terminator or Back to the Future. That's all just made up. This is the real thing." And like they try to do it as well, but it's almost like making fun of the fact that it can't ever be done right because it's not a real thing. But I think in the audience today, we do expect to understand it, and we do expect them to write a story where we can believe it's real. I think it's such a tough thing. It's like kind of process, especially like this is an hour and a half film as well.
It's a lot to put in.
This day and age, it'd be 2 hours. It'd be 2 hours, no doubt, if this was done today. Because trying to explain all this in such a short period of time, it's just not worth it.
In a Van Damme movie as well, where you want the action, and I don't think it delivers the action. It doesn't have no middle big chase scene or anything like that. I mean, it has the fight in the factory, but even that's just very basic. But the end, even though like he's going up against that Roy Silver, who's the bad guy, the fact that one of his henchmen isn't some kind of established is a fucking credible threat. You know what? Why don't you see the henchman kill his partner? You know what I mean? And like Van Damme, like as a Van Damme fan, you expect like a massive brawl, and you just don't really get it. You know what I mean?
No. It is underwhelming when it comes to the actual fighting, because it's almost like it's choreographed, but it's like too choreographed. Like when he's in his apartment and he boxes, you know, it's like he goes from two different people, but it's all so set. Right, it's now your turn to lie down for 5 minutes while I fight you, but then in about 2 minutes you're going to fall on the floor and I'm going to fight you. It all feels too generic. But yeah,
well,
it is what it is.
Well, everybody, this has been the podcast for Timecop, and you want to talk about time. Carl, do you remember doing Flash Gordon podcast?
I do.
I don't.
Awesome.
That's just been released today, so we are running a bit behind, so there's a passage in time. I'm trying to get these guys to do Biodome before lockdown's lifted, so hopefully Biodome will be our next one. Although Carl's telling me to go to hell, Paul Ray's going to be suddenly unavailable. So I have no idea what the next podcast is. Big Dave will return, and I believe we might be getting a special appearance by the one and only Howard the Duck himself, Mark Abbott, who's going to join us on the Howard the Duck podcast. But for now, thanks very much for listening. Goodbye for now.